Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Mitchell, and today we've got something a little bit interesting for you guys. Our friends over at Insta360 sent us one of these. Now this is a 360-degree drone mount. This allows you to put one of these, an Insta360 1R, onto your DJI Mavic Pro. So what you can do is take your Insta360 camera, pull it apart, and it allows you to mount one lens on the top and one lens on the bottom. So this essentially makes your entire drone into a 360 camera without actually seeing the drone itself. The drone is completely invisible. Also, in post, it allows you to reframe wherever you want in a 360-degree radius or circle around you, which allows for some really creative camera movements, especially with a drone. In some of the marketing material for this drone mount, they often compared it to an FPV racing drone, explaining you can get FPV style shots without having to learn and build and basically go through the learning curve of the entire FPV process. They even went as far as to sometimes say it's an FPV drone replacement.
For any of you who are interested in FPV racing, it's going to turn a regular drone pilot into an FPV pilot because you don't need to master the art of moving the drone quickly and fast around objects. All you'll need to do is fly the drone straight in one direction, and then you do all of the reframing later in post.
Now that's exactly what we wanted to put to the test today. We want to see if you can get similar shots with this drone mount that you would normally only be able to get with an FPV racing drone. Anyways, the only thing we have to do now is get out there, unbox this thing, and start filming. We have arrived at our location here. It's beautiful. We've got mountains, we've got trees, we've got a nice cliff, everything you are going to want for an FPV drone. And first things first, we have to figure out how to attach our 360 camera here onto our DJI Mavic Pro. Now we got the Insta360 drone bundle here, so this will take this 360 camera, kind of pull it apart, and then throw it on so we can get it on here. So I think we're just gonna open it up and see how easy it really is. Oh, there we go, box in a box. Some instructions on how to use it. And here we are, the mount. It's pretty big, holy. Okay, so there's one half. Here's the other. My assumption is that this holds the lens on the top here, and this goes on top like that, and then it holds the lens on the bottom here, goes on the bottom like this, and you got yourself a 360 drone mount. So far, it's a little confusing on how to stick it together, but I haven't been looking at the instructions, so maybe those might help a little bit. So you take this half of the camera, slide it in like that, and then you take this half of the camera, slide it in like that. This is it. This is the final 360 drone bundle. It has one lens on the top here, has one lens on the bottom. It then also has the core on the side here. This is where you see the video and can also start and stop the recording. And then on the other side, it has the battery, so it powers the entire 360 camera. It's quite heavy. I'm honestly kind of surprised. I'm not sure how that's going to affect flight times. I know that the Mavic 2 Pro hasn't advertised 31 minutes of flight time. I definitely don't think you're gonna be getting that with this module attached to it. I think it's gonna be kind of a pain to switch out the battery in the drone itself because you have to take off the entire top plate of this 360 bundle, throw another battery in, and then throw it back on again, which I could see could be a little bit of a pain. But other than that, I'm excited to see what kind of footage this thing can produce. You may have noticed that we had these like clear lens protectors on the lenses on the top and the bottom. We did notice that it kind of creates like this weird line right where they, like the two cameras kind of meet in the middle. So we decided to take them off to get a better product. And I think the only thing left to do is just kind of take this thing up in the air and see how it flies. Now this thing is a two-person operation because you can't put this down on the ground. So it's kind of a pain to launch it by yourself. Here we go. A lot louder than it is normally. So I think for the first shot here, I'm going to kind of do like a dive here because it's a little bit of a drop off there. So I'm going to come in maybe between these two trees, go down and try to maybe fly between two trees down there and get sort of like something you do with an FPV drone. I'm not necessarily gonna have the best line of sight, so I'm not sure how close I can get to these obstacles, but we're just gonna, I guess, find out. 3, 2, 1, go. went well. It's kind of weird because you can't see what the 360 camera is seeing itself. So I don't really know what it looks like. I didn't really get as close to the trees as I would like, but I think it turned out. I'm probably gonna take like maybe 3 more passes and then we'll call it good for this one. Okay, 3, 2, 1, going. Oh, holy cow! Okay, relax. I mean, my heart dropped. That was a little close, not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna land it now. I'm gonna be honest, I did get a little close to that tree there. I tried to go, I kind of got the control switched up in my brain and I tried to go left, but I actually went right. That was really, really close. The drone almost went down there. Okay, cool. My heart is pumping. We've never crashed that thing and I don't want it to be because we have a 360 camera on it. Okay, so some first impressions here of this thing. It handles pretty much the same as a normal drone without the module on it. It does take a little bit longer to stop because it weighs a little bit more. It is interesting flying because you kind of have to mimic the shots of an FPV drone. You kind of have to do the thing where you weave in between trees and kind of fly around objects, which is something that this drone doesn't normally do. So that's kind of interesting. It's a little bit more sketchy when flying, but I'm very interested to see what the final product comes out to be. So now that we got the first shot here, we're gonna be flying the exact same line that I did with this with an actual FPV drone. So I'm gonna hand the controls over to Steven. He's gonna do that, and we're going to compare and contrast the shots that we get. So we have the FPV drone here. It's gonna be interesting because the Mavic Pro was quite slow when it was going down, and I know that this thing is gonna be moving really fast. I think that's gonna be a really big difference in each shot, but we'll get this thing in the air and we'll just see what happens. Okay. A little launch pad right there. Oh, perfect. Remember last time you were here, you were first flight. Yeah, no, I know. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Okay, I'm going for first attempt. This line isn't that bad, it's just some of the trees are kind of thin, so it's really easy to lose the branches in the light. Ooh, whacked a tree there. Fine though. Yep. Nailed it. Not bad. That was a pretty easy line, so it'll be interesting to see what it looks like on the Mavic Pro. I did smoke a tree on my right side, but it seemed fine. I kept flying, nothing fell off. The thing's pretty tough. We have just finished doing both of the lines with both of the drones. You can see here after I hit the tree that there's some kind of like scuffs on it. Nothing that can't be buffed out. I think we are now going to head over along this ridge a little bit more till we get to a nice cliff, which we have for the second location to try out these two drones. Okay, so we've arrived at our second location to get our second shot, and what's gonna happen is I am gonna be positioned right there on the rocks right there, and then the drone is gonna fly basically right where I am walking here, up and over these rocks, and then you can see Steven down there. He is our model for this evening. It's gonna go right past him and then keep on going and kind of pull out once we get near those trees. Now the idea is that as I pass, I'm gonna be kind of keep the camera locked on Steven the entire time. So I'm gonna be going, and then as I pass, I'm gonna kind of rotate the camera in post on Steven and then kind of fall away from him into a bush like this. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I think it'll be pretty easy with this because I only need to fly straight and then the camera does the rest. 3, 2, 1, go! That was so close to my head. Just getting a little low battery warning there, but all is well. Okay, I think we got it. That was a pretty crazy shot. Okay, so I just reviewed the shot on the gimbal here. It looks pretty good. I think we're only gonna need one take of this. So we're gonna get the FPV drone out, match the shot, and then move on to the last location. Now, I've never actually done one of these shots. So I'm just gonna wing it and see what happens, but I think it'll be pretty straightforward. You just fly straight and rotate, because most of the things I've done is diving. So it's a learning experience for me as well as Mitchell flying the drone. Yeah, let's go for it. 3, 2, 1, and away we go. Okay, you ready, Mitchell? Okay, I'm just gonna wing it. I don't know exactly where I'm flying. That shot is harder than I thought. Okay, here we go. Tons of room, tons of room. Okay, I think we got it.
You can bring it up to me if you want.
I'll just land on the rock over here.
Forward. Yeah.
There you go. Cut it and it goes down the cliff. Okay. Definitely a learning curve there. The issue is that you need a lot of momentum so you can kind of flip around and still be going the same direction. The only way I'm gonna know how it looked is if I look at it on the computer, but I'm fairly confident I got one that will do. Now that we've completed this shot, we're gonna move on to the third and final location. It has something to do with a car. We've arrived at our final location. We got ourselves a car here, like we mentioned before. What we're gonna do is we're gonna drive it along this road, and it has a nice kind of like canyon that kind of goes right around it. So we're gonna fly the drone up and over and hopefully do a shot where you kind of like peer over the car and revolve around it and then fall away. I predict this is going to be the easiest one to do for this, but it might be the hardest one to do with an FPV drone. So we were just about to take off and get the final shot, but I just realized I need to change the battery. Now, if you remember what I said before, I predicted it would be kind of a pain. So this is gonna be a continuous shot of me changing the battery, and we're gonna see how long it takes. So first you gotta do this, I'm gonna try and do it as fast as I can. So first is the screws. And screw number 2, there. Done. Ooh, my fingers were in the propellers of that one. Go, go, go. We definitely nailed that shot. It was perfect.
Okay, perfect. I'm actually kind of surprised.
Third and final time setting up the FPV drone here. We're gonna get this shot here, which I'm a little skeptical if I'll be even able to do it. It is really technical. It is a lot of trees around here. I'm just gonna do it, see what happens. Hopefully I don't crash it, and then we'll be able to end this day without any casualties. Maybe. Plan for this shot, because it can't be done identically to how Mitchell did it with the Mavic 2 Pro, is probably take the drone, start down there, come up the hillside right as the car comes and do like a revolve shot kind of like this, and then either like flip over like that and then kind of come backwards down that side. Rather complicated. I don't know if I have the right skills to do it, but we're just gonna see. Okay, and that is how you do oh shit. Oh, that was not good. I flicked the wrong switch. We may be cutting this a little short. Oh my God. That was such a rookie move. So what I did there is put it into auto level mode, so then I could kind of take it off from my hands and it would just kind of float away. And then my whole thought process here, what happened to it? The whole thought process here was that I was going to flick it into acro mode, which is how you actually fly it, so it tilts and all that, but I accidentally just flicked the disarm switch, and so it just turned off and just fell straight to the ground, perfectly flat like this, and then just broke the shock mount that I have for the GoPro. You are such an idiot. I know. I got it all on here too. We are back in action now. Did a quick repair. Let's get this thing into the air.
Good bar there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Go for it. So we got the shot, it turned out pretty good. It's really hard to coordinate with the car and the drone. It's a lot of work, but I think we got it. So now we're gonna go home, see what the footage looks like, see what we think, and we'll see you guys back at the office. Okay, so it has been a couple days since we flew the drones around and got the both FPV footage and the 360 footage. It's interesting. I'm just gonna come flat out and say it's definitely not an FPV drone replacement. Now, my reasoning for that is mainly because of the movement that a Mavic provides versus an FPV drone. An FPV drone is very fluid and you can just glide along the ground and just get more organic turns and it banks and things like that. The Mavic is a very robotic movement. It goes forward, backwards, left, right, and is very just on rails. Now, because of that, it kind of hinders the natural movement that you're looking for with an FPV drone. For instance, in that first location, we were trying to do a descend down, it was very jerky with the Mavic because you're kind of going down very slowly and it doesn't like doing those kind of moves when an FPV drone will just basically dive right down the mountain. Also, another differentiating factor between this, an FPV drone, and the drone module is that the Mavic 2 Pro that this thing uses is like a Prius when this is a Ferrari. Like, the speed is uncomparable. These things will go 100 kilometers an hour. These things, 20 if you're trying to fly through things, if you're lucky. Now, because of that, it shows in the footage. This thing will just fly down the mountain like it's no problem. This thing is very slow, and even when you try to speed it up in post, it doesn't look the most natural. Also, when it comes to turning, the FPV drone likes to bank and turn, and it is a very fluid turning motion. The Mavic, not so much. It likes to kind of turn and jerk and kind of do those robotic movements, and in the end, provides a not so ideal final product. Also, another thing to note is that because you do a lot of the movement in post with the 360 camera, a lot of it is done with keyframes. It just depends on how much time and energy you want to spend on doing those keyframes. Like, if you want to spend years just sitting down, keyframing every single movement, making it look as smooth as possible, I'm sure you could get a little bit further than we did. But if you're looking for something quick and easy, this is definitely not it. Finally, I'm gonna go over whether I would recommend one of these things to you or not. Now, if you are the type of person that is looking for an FPV drone replacement and doesn't wanna learn how to fly an FPV drone, and you're thinking this is the shortcut, don't buy it. It is not going to produce the similar image that you're looking for. It is completely different. Now, if you're the type of person that just loves their Mavic Pro, has no interest in FPV whatsoever, and is just looking for a way to get more dynamic movements with your drone, then yeah, I would recommend it. It's a great way to kind of spice up your shots and be able to reframe in post. I feel that this drone module definitely has a lot of potential if you spend the time to kind of learn the ins and outs and how exactly this thing works and what it's really good for. So just to summarize, get it if you're looking for more dynamic movement and you're looking to spice up your normal drone game, but don't buy it if you're thinking it's an FPV drone replacement. It is definitely not. Anyways, that's it from us for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new here, go down, subscribe, comment, leave a like. It really helps us out. Also, we're extremely close to 100K, so maybe you guys can get us there just a little bit closer. That would be awesome. We've got some really cool things planned for the future. And I think that's everything. So we'll see you guys next video. Ow. Oh. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely going in the end screen.